Do you think she'll like us?
What's not that like?
Do you think she'll feel like we're her parents?
You're gonna be a wonderful mom.
Hello, I'm Elise Chaffins, and I'm joined today by Nico Rinciari to discuss his award-winning film, Mosquito in the Ear, now available on video on demand. Thank you so much for joining me today, Nico. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So could you give us just a brief overview of the film and, just kind of what it's about?
Yes, the film tells a story of a couple who got married and decided to adopt and travels all the way to India to meet their adopted daughter, Sarvari, only to find out that she doesn't actually want to go with them. And they have 10 days to convince her that they are indeed her parents and and to go back with them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know this was based on a graphic novel. Can you talk about what drew you to that material and made you want to work on this film?
Yes, it's adapted from a graphic novel, and it's also based on the real story of the author and the family that wrote the graphic novel together. And it was, when I read it, it was just such a beautiful, heartfelt, true story about relationships through different cultures, which is something that I deeply related to, being Italian and having come to the United States as a teenager and having to navigate the language differences, the culture differences, trying to form a family of your own somewhere else, somewhere where you feel you might not have the same understanding as where you've grown up. And so when I found all of that into the graphic novel, I really wanted to tell this story. And so we jumped on and to the occasion and made this film.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to ask, the end credits, were those using stills or art from the graphic novel?
Yes, correct. Spot on.
Okay.
So that's the graphic novel. And Andrew drew it, Daniela colored it, and Sarvari supervised the operation of what she wanted included in the graphic novel. And so it was really much a part of the process.
Very cool. Yeah, I thought that was really a beautiful integration there. One of the things that I really loved about this film is that it's just this very specific story about this family, but I think it has really broad implications for just parenting in general. Can you talk about kind of like navigating that very specific to making it still broadly applicable?
Yes, I actually found that the more specific to that. So, of course, during the research process, our North Star was the family, but we also expanded and talked with adoption agencies, adopted parents. But then the more we actually were being specific, the more the story started mirroring, I felt, parenting in general. Like I felt at some point that there was a lot of my relationship with my father in the relationship between Sarvari and her father, and even the couple dynamics was very much based on mine and my co-writer's parents, and so it became a gateway in this specificity to talk about what it means to be parents, what it means to form a family at a broader level, even though the story still stayed true to what the original one was. And it was a very unique occasion because the fact that Sarvari was 4 or 5 in the story made us see in real time what it means to become a family and a parent on a concentrated timeline rather than what usually might unfold over the course of several years.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I did. I think that even just the communication difficulties, even if you have an infant of your own, communication is still difficult there. So I did. I found that really interesting. Oh, and that kind of leads into another thing. I really love the selective use of the Hindi subtitles throughout the film. Can you talk about that decision as well?
Yes, I really wanted to switch perspectives throughout the film between because we were telling a story of these three people coming together, and there were moments where we wanted to embrace the parents' perspective, and moments in which we felt it was important to highlight Sarvari's perspective. And so when there are the subtitles, the audience is put into a position of understanding Sarvari and sort of marrying her cause and understanding her fully. Whereas when there aren't subtitles, the audience is put in the position of the parents, where they also struggle to understand what is going on and why this kid, and so they might relate to them and see her and see the difficulties and the challenges that they are trying to navigate. And that's why we switch back and forth in selected moments to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably one of my favorite scenes in the film is Andrew trying to find Sarvari in the crowd, and the way that it's filmed, it feels very chaotic when we're kind of with him, and it feels a little calmer when we're with her. Can you just talk about filming those scenes and weaving them together?
You're spot on in the sense that we wanted to make this experience different for Andrew and Sarvari, because Sarvari has lived there. So for her, it's beautiful, and even the music highlights that. It's almost a choreographed like piece, because she goes in there and she feels right at home. Whereas for Andrew, it's a very scary experience as a foreigner trying to go through the market and those busy streets. And so we wanted to switch and actually highlight that what's it's threatening or dangerous for him actually is very much also his perspective of that place. Whereas for Sarvari, that's just her world and her beautiful world. And we try to do that. Of course, in the market is where it's most evident. But even in the hotel, when they come in there at first, for them, the hotel is their oasis. When Sarvari goes into the hotel, it's her prison, because she comes from that other beautiful orphanage where she felt at home and she felt it colorful. And actually, we push in some ways that idea of like she's leaving, trying to see her through her eyes, which was the discovery for us really on the film, that everything is about perspective in this sense, and these perspectives meeting and clashing occur with each other.
Yeah, definitely. So, and this film really does a great job of showing some of the, I think sometimes you get ideas with adoption that it's going to be very cozy and it's this saving kind of thing, and especially with international adoption. And this shows some of the less cozy aspects, I guess, of that, some of that friction. Can you talk about just the reception that you've had to that? I'm sure truth, but like it definitely doesn't paint it in just an all glowing kind of way.
Yes. We were encouraged a lot by the adoption agencies and the parents to depict it that way, because they felt that there wasn't enough representation of what it actually means to adopt and the difficulties and the challenges that both as parents they have to go through. So I remember several partners and executive producers besides the real family had adopted, and they always told us, don't make it pretty, because they felt that they navigated that into their life. And so we were very drawn to that. And the reception on that end has been amazing. On the general audience, sometimes I do see the surprise, because I feel everyone associates or has associated, partly because of literature and films, this adoption process to this just very, very beautiful, like all perfect process. But as any other human process, it has flaws and challenges and difficulties that then people have to go through. And so we wanted to be very true to that, because that was one of the big reasons for us making the film, is that I hadn't seen, to my memory, something that depicted adoption the way it was depicted in the book. And it resonated true to a different level, down to the fact that the kid doesn't just want to go and embrace the new parents, but actually he lives there. For her at that point, they're two strangers trying to take her away from what she knows.
Yeah, absolutely. As just kind of we wrap up here, I always like to ask people, what is something that you took from making this film, from making A Mosquito in the Ear, that you'd like to take into your next project? Just
Yes,
whether
I mean,
it's, yeah.
yeah, there are several things. One aspect is truly that as we were telling the story, we lived part of this story because we went to India to make the film. And
Right.
so we were a contingent of a very few people from the United States, and including me, working with a whole Indian crew, and staying there for an extended amount of time. So that same exchange of perspective and understanding each other that we were depicting on the film, it was also happening behind the scenes among us, and I felt that that was for me a great lesson, a great way, and open-minded of how differently sometimes we can do things and how many possibilities there are. And a lot of those things that we've experimented with, even down to technique, camera styles, that was very influenced by the way India approached shooting, I want to take on and on the next project as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. It's a beautiful film, and yeah, I hope
Thank
that
you
it,
so much.
yeah, just best of luck with that.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely.